So we've really just started this, and we expect literally hundreds and hundreds of these things to be done. There's all sorts of variations. You could do one, those great web things you get where you can send someone a birthday message and put their name into it. Well, that's going to be possible. As we evolve it, we probably will expect the viewers to be recording some of their own material that will mash up into this. And so what we like this for a whole host of reasons. I mean, it's sort of the creativity of the creativity is being driven by the technology. It's an intimacy between our viewers and our talent, which is very Channel 4. And sort of organisationally, the interesting thing about this project is that obviously 4 Creative, who conceived of this and have executed it, but have worked with some of the most creative people in the web space to build the engine that drives it, and which then technologically connects with our on-air system so that we can then broadcast the material as well. So it's very, very flexible. It's this mediation between us as editorial controllers and our viewers as co-owners of our brand. And I find it very interesting, kind of on many levels. And I think it's sort of a nice example of how sort of the YouView and Twist are examples of how change is happening in television, and particularly how Channel 4 is responding to it. So let's talk now a little bit about the business model. How am I doing for time, Sue? We're fine. So I'll be blunt. I think many people will be nodding to this in the room. I think that the sort of the way in which we have been trading media up until this point is it's creaking at the edges. And I think as we continue to demonstrate our ability as a broadcaster to transact attention in new ways, we will need to transact value with you as advertisers in new ways. And I think that's got a lot to do with measurement systems. I mean, we're now able to measure, and I think many broadcasters are finding this with hit shows, the profound level of change in what constitutes ratings that's now occurring. In between us, that I know all of you love, launched series 3 or 4, I think it was, 3 weeks ago. So first linear transmission, 2.6 million, is a breakout record for E4. With consolidated numbers a week later, it went up to, I think, 3.6, 3.8. If you then added in the 4OD catch-up, you get to nearly 6 million. Now, that may be because that's very popular with kids. They're actually having kind of parties at colleges around the show. I mean, it's a cult classic already. But what it shows you is that the way in which we are using the traditional Barb mechanism to define value is just becoming obsolete. Now, I'm sure Barb, and we're a stakeholder in Barb, would say, hang on, we have all sorts of sophisticated ways of adding all that together, which is fine and which is true. But I think we're all going to, as an industry, need to continue to work very, very hard on measuring the totality of an audience, point one. Point two, when, as is inevitably the case, the sort of feedback loops through things like YouView and things that are already possible on Sky and Virgin in the pay space become richer and more reliable, we're going to be able to increasingly provide that feedback loop to you as advertisers. And I think, I'm just a complete obsessive fan of the medium of television, and I think that we've allowed our medium to be attacked through a sort of basically a propaganda war from the West Coast of America. And I think we're doing 2 very different things. I think we do different things. Respect Google hugely. We're partners of them on YouTube, but we do different things. And I think it's incumbent upon us to come out and say that our medium should not be accused of that old maxim of, half my money is wasted, I just don't know which half. I think that's profoundly wrong and actually quite insulting, because I'm sure you as clients don't want to waste half your money, and you haven't been wasting half your money ever since Sue and I started in the early 80s. I mean, this is a profoundly audited medium. It's a properly booked and billed medium, unlike the vast majority of the internet, which still remains like the bloody Wild West as far as I can see. And we are innovating. I don't know if any of you saw, there's a very good piece in sort of the most recent version of The Economist that sort of says, here we are, television has proved itself amazingly resilient to adapting to change, unlike print and unlike many other media that have not rebounded to quite the same degree as television has this year. So I do think we're going to need to change. We're going to need to change our measurement systems, our transaction systems, our negotiation systems, and this is going to take time, and it's going to take some courage. And I would like to think it's quite possible that Channel 4 would show the courage that it did when it ceded its ad sales out of ITV, which was then a monopoly, and said, we're going to have a different way of transacting with advertisers. And it was based on some very thoughtful work that was done by Stuart Butterfield, and then Andy Barnes took it on, that said, we're going to understand demographics, and we're going to argue that quality demographics justifies a premium. And that model of understanding value and understanding the value of light viewers and upmarket viewers and younger viewers was innovatory at that moment, because we only had ITV. I think we only had one seller of airtime in this country at that point. So maybe, just maybe, Channel 4, under my leadership, might take that next leap and might be involved with all of you in proposing a new way of transacting value. And in order to do that, we're going to have to come up with a lot more innovation. So I'm actually in the process of looking for a new director of audience technologies and data, someone who can help to stretch our thinking as a broadcaster into the space where relationship management works in a more data-driven way. I imagine every client in this room is running a business where data is driving your decision-making, probably, I don't know, to a more sophisticated level than television, but basically, I don't want to only be relying on barb data and overnight data. If you work in broadcasting, at 10:30 every morning, you get this lurch in your stomach when you look at your overnights. And that's like you as retailers looking at your sales data. But that's only one measurement of many that we need to understand in terms of behavior, in terms of this full feedback loop of converged technologies being able to add value to you as advertisers. So what does this all add up to? And let's just return to the core. At the end of the day, my job is to, in the remit of Channel 4, is to occupy a very particular role in the media landscape. We are a not-for-profit organisation, and that allows us to overinvest in genres and on topics that other broadcasters would probably shy away from. So this week I have the dubious honour of having upset both Downing Street with the dispatches on Andy Coulson and the Palace with the forthcoming documentary about Harry, the scenario in which he could be kidnapped if he went back to Afghanistan. Now, this kind of editorial approach is funded by a very particular funding mechanism that allows us to plough some of our surpluses from our more commercial properties into those genres that society values and that provide a counterpoint and a contrast to what the BBC does in the public service space. So we're trying to pull off this delicate balancing act, and I think over the years our relationship with advertisers has implicitly understood this great value that we offer. And what we also do is we commit ourselves to working with young writers and young talent and new and fresh voices in the creative landscape, and to bring those to the viewer's attention. So once we've perfected our revenue model, we have very particular purposes with regard to what we do editorially, and hopefully in turn provide you with an environment which is completely unique and completely special. So to end, I thought I'd just show a little video of 4 or 5 genres that we set out last night at our upfront. But here's a look at some of the drama that's coming to Channel 4. And this is obviously the most high risk and the most I suppose, difficult genre to break through in television, but we've got some very special things coming up. So I'll give you a taste for that and then happy to take questions.
I think it might take more than you getting laid to turn you into a superhero.
I sure hope you know what you're doing.
So do I.
You're tired. Sexy bird.
That woman was condemned as a witch years ago and has invaded the law ever since.
Look how happy I feel.
the king. Designed to kill. Fuck off!
Every human being is a collection of cells.
What's your name, interesting young man?
Well, that's it.
You're the writer, aren't you? That was all very satisfactory.
Thank you.
We never stay just one person as we go on our journey through life.
What's nothing you doing here?
I wanted to see you again.
Nice, remember?
History is a little consequence as we pass through it.
You let yourself down. What's your trouble? I'd like things to be clear and straightforward.
Life is the combination of good luck and bad luck.
Tell me about your suicide attempt.
There's only one way to get on in this world, Logan. Not believe in yourself.
We were wrong then. Twice.
And every life is both ordinary and extraordinary.
Slime Low's gonna attack. Let's go, let's go! Where are we gonna go? We're gonna take it out. Take it out, we're going to go for this. Listen, I'll think about it. This is God's plan, he's put us in the India. This is our jihad.
Maybe we should flipping pop it, brother. You're talking jihad. We're going to use it. Fucking yes. What the jihad again? Pop it, brother. Flipping pop it. Okay.
Frank is missing. The man I intend to marry has disappeared, and I need to know where he's got to.
I'm sorry, we're really confident.
Where did you see him last?
You're not going to put your mom and let you know. I just told her I was going to Israel to have a see the man for a sec. She said, okay, fine.
Well, I'd like to know if you're a democracy. A military dictatorship.
And look, it's Rita's famously sexy brother. Just hate him, it's completely insane.
It's about control, humiliation, and forcing them off their land. It's got nothing to do with terror.
Tell me what happened. Are you okay?
Listen, Mum. How's Brendan?
Don't want to talk about.
I took the diary, Mum.
For myself, life is over and he's over. I feel like I've down everyone I trusted me. All the things to look forward to except a long stay in prison. And a dishonorable discharge. I'd like to think that one day I'll be able to find a way to return the key to my home. My home, always, after my together.
Are you dead? Thinking he's not come around.
That does sound like him.
Then I just wanted to hear it. He's gone.
You should see the looks on your face. Classic. I'm immortal. You believe this shit? Oh, looks like they say best class.
We have an oracle.
Man can't enjoy a quick shuffle in his own coffin.
It's not like I was expecting visitors. Oh, cannot take the throne. England has been steeped in blood for 60 years. Kill us, and you burn in hell's everlasting fire. I don't take kindly to priests who steal.